Okay guys, so last time we left off talking about cohesion, and we talked about cohesion being water sticking to other water molecules. And then we talked about the water strider here, this little guy, being able to, I guess, walk on water almost because he's not breaking the hydrogen bonds under his legs. Okay? So with that, guys, surface tension. We talked about surface tension a little bit, all right? This guy, we watched the video last time in the water, he was making all of this splashing as he was running through the water, all right? He really wasn't running on top of the water. There was something underneath that was holding him up. The second we break surface tension, we would fall through the water, okay? We're not going to be able to walk on top. So once we make a splash in the water, we're breaking that surface tension. In other words, big thing I need you guys to know is when we break surface tension, we are breaking those hydrogen bonds in between adjacent water molecules. In other words, water molecules next to one another. We are never going to break those polar covalent bonds that are just holding one water molecule together. We're going to be breaking the bonds that are holding water molecules together that are next to one another, okay? So just like when you guys jump into a pool, Santa Claus here, I guess, is jumping in, but he's jumping in a pool. Once he makes that splash, he's breaking hydrogen bonds. If you guys do a belly flop, you are breaking a lot of hydrogen bonds. If you dive in, you're breaking not so many hydrogen bonds, but that's why it hurts when you do a belly flop, is because you're breaking so many bonds. All right, next thing is adhesion. So adhesion is going to be water's attraction to other substances other than water. So an example of this is water sticking to your clothes. I don't know if you've ever been to SeaWorld or seen like a killer whale before, but they used to jump and splash the whole crowd. You would have water all over your clothing. What that does, or what that shows here, is that water is clinging to your clothing, but also look at all the water coming out. All right, the water is clinging to itself as well. So that's cohesion right there, the water coming out, because we don't just have one or two water molecules, we have a bunch of water molecules coming out. They're all clinging to one another through cohesion. And then once the water sticks to your clothes, now that is adhesion, water sticking to something else. If you want to do another example here, the water sticking to the inside of the glass here, that's going to be adhesion. The water sticking to the glass is another surface other than water, so that's adhesion. But all the water sticking to other water molecules, that's cohesion. Now, capillary action, guys, this is water moving against gravity. So the tree here, okay, you guys know you water a tree through its roots, through the bottom of the roots, right? Where do we need that water to go? Well, we need it to go all the way up top in the leaves here, because those are what carry out photosynthesis. So we water them through the leaves, and the water goes upward, because that makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah, if you throw a ball, it's just going to keep going up. No, we know it doesn't happen like that, all right? We know gravity points downward, but somehow water is able to get up to the leaves. So that is capillary action. What capillary action is going to be the combination of cohesion and adhesion. If you see these little red things here, okay, this is a part of the inside of the tree under a microscope. These little red things are little tubes, kind of like you guys have veins and arteries and things like that that help move blood in your body. Trees have these little tubes. They're called xylem. It's X-Y-L-E-M. You don't have to know that word. Don't worry about it. But it is pretty much the tubes inside of the tree, and they carry blood. How this happens, guys, is we are going to have these little guys here, and the water is going to cling to the sides, and the water is going to cling, I keep hitting the button, sorry. The water is going to cling to the sides, and it's going to cling to itself. So capillary action is water being able to move in two things. It's able to move upward through cohesion and adhesion together. Let me show you a good. This is the example I found, guys, and I think it's a really good example. All right, this is from a movie called World War Z, and there is one part. It's about a movie about zombies, okay, and they're all inside. And here's what I want to show you guys right here. Okay, they're inside. They're making noise. They attract these zombies. I just want to show you one little scene here. Okay, the zombies are trying to get up the wall. So what's happening is some zombies are sticking on the wall. Other zombies are climbing upward on the other zombies. This is a perfect example of capillary action, even though it's not water. Capillary action would involve water. This one does not. We have the zombies clinging to the wall. All right, that is like water clinging to the inside of those tubes. All right, so that's adhesion. And then they're climbing one another. That's cohesion. All right, let me fast forward a little bit here. There's one more good scene with it. Here we go. Right here. You could see some of them are falling down as well. Oops. But as they fall down, more of them are clinging, so more of them can go up. And then, sure enough, they get high enough where they're able to enter. I didn't really want to show you guys the movie. It's just that little clip from it. That is a really good one for showing capillary action. Okay? So, just to review, guys, you do a belly flop in the water, something like this guy, you're breaking those hydrogen bonds, all right? This one here, you can see the rock is nice and wet, all right? That is adhesion. That's the water clinging to that rock. It's not water clinging to water, it's water clinging to a different surface. So that's adhesion, all right? Okay, so this guy here, he is doing one of those polar plunge things. Why would anyone ever do this? I don't really know, but we are going to talk about that. Now, if you've ever done that, guys, and it's like cold outside, yeah, the water's going to be cold as well, all right? But water's other property, number 4, we say water has a high specific heat, okay? It takes a lot of heat to raise the temperature of a little bit of water, 1 gram of water, by 1 degree Celsius, okay? Why is this good for us? In other words, if it's 100 degrees outside, or even more than that, we better hope that the water inside our bodies is not over 100 degrees, okay? You go in the Arizona desert, where it's like 115 degrees on a normal day, you don't want your body to be 115 degrees. If it gets to that point, you are dead, okay? So not good for us at all. So water has a high specific heat, guys. Again, what this means is it takes a lot of energy to raise the temperature of water. This is why your pools in the summertime, if anyone has a pool, yeah, it might be 100 degrees outside, but that pool might be like 75 or 76, okay? There's not enough heat from the sun to raise that temperature to match the temperature outside. Okay, so dinosaurs. You guys know dinosaurs were probably cold-blooded, and we're not going to dwell on this too much. This is just something I found. But dinosaurs were probably cold-blooded. It actually, we think that the big dinosaurs, like T-Rex, might actually have been warm-blooded by accident. Why that is because the blood, again, mostly water, okay, they would absorb heat throughout the day, and they wouldn't lose enough heat at night to cool down to the part where they would be a cold-blooded organism. So, kind of cool. All right. So let's talk about water and freezing and things like that. And then that's pretty much it. So density of water. Solid ice is less dense than liquid water. How do we know this? Well, if we were to go outside, go to a river in the middle of winter, you guys would see that the ice would be floating on top of the water. So that tells us that the ice is less dense than regular liquid water, okay? So let me draw something here for you guys real quick. If we were to draw 2 different types of water, You guys are like, there's only one type of water. Yeah, we're going to draw it in different states, okay? So let's draw ice and liquid water. So we'll say this is going to be our liquid water, H2O liquid. And over here, we're going to have our, I'll do it a different color, do it in black. We're going to have our H2O in the form of ice. Okay. So let me draw the ice first. So here's a water molecule. Here's a water molecule. Here's a water molecule. And here's one. Cool. There's 4 water molecules. That's enough. All right. You guys know they're held together by polar covalent bonds, the individual water molecules. Let's draw our hydrogen bonds in there. So we have a hydrogen bond connecting the hydrogen to the oxygen. Same thing over here. Same thing here. And here. So there are our hydrogen bonds. Okay. Here's what happens. When it turns into, whoops guys, I'm sorry, I screwed up here. Let's say this one is the liquid. My fault. Drew them on the opposite sides. Okay. So this will be our liquid. This will be our ice. So in your liquid, there's your hydrogen bonds. Cool. So here's what happens when the water changes to ice. We are going to still have the same number of our molecules of water. So I'm still going to draw 4 here. This one, yeah, kind of running out of screen there, but here's what happens. The hydrogen bonds become bigger. In other words, the water molecules become more spaced out. Given this tells us that our density, ice is going to be less dense than water. Okay. So what happens whenever liquid water transforms into ice? Same amount of water molecules, only difference is the hydrogen bonds get a little bit bigger. Okay? And this is why in this picture, if you've ever seen a water bottle that you put in the fridge or freezer, I'm sorry, if you put it in the freezer, that bottle starts to swell, it starts to expand, and we actually have a bigger volume of water compared to what we normally had. Right? Really good for the polar bears that the ice floats, because polar bears actually live on the ice for most of the time. Right? Hopefully the ice doesn't melt and keep them out, at sea. If not, they're going to get stranded. Not good, right? Okay. So again, guys, since we have the ice being less dense than the water, the ice will be on top of the liquid water. Okay. Last thing, guys, and this is just a fun fact. If you've ever eaten vegetables that were once in the freezer, if you eat fresh vegetables, ones that have never been in the freezer, you get that nice crunch to them, okay? If you eat them when they've been in the freezer and you try to heat them up that way, they don't have as much crunchiness to them. Why this is because while they're in the freezer, all that water that's inside of them turns into ice. And when it turns into ice, the vegetables actually get bigger and their cell wall bursts. They still have a cell membrane and everything, but their cell wall slightly bursts, and that cell wall is what gives vegetables their crunchiness. So that's why fresh vegetables taste a little bit better, a little more crunchy than frozen vegetables. All right, so this is what we just talked about, guys, with the cell wall bursting. All right, that is it for today, guys, and that is the end of Chapter 2. So tomorrow we will review and start looking over your Chapter 2 material. Have a good day, guys.